But in the middle, somewhere, according to 2 Corinthians chapter 1, he had what we would call a nervous breakdown. He said, I was so crushed that I despaired of life itself. Now, you're a pastor, I'm a pastor, several of you. If somebody came to you and said what Paul says in 1 Corinthians, you'd think, this is a serious moment. This is not just trivial. And he says, this was to make me rely on the God who raises the dead. And you can see from the style of writing in 2 Corinthians, compared with the style of writing in 1 Corinthians, just what he's been through. 2 Corinthians is jerky. It feels as though it's wrung out of him, like somebody wringing water out of a garment. And it's in anguish, because the Corinthians themselves have been part of the problem. As I was thinking about how all that worked for him, and thinking about the fact that I think he wrote Philippians, Colossians, Ephesians, and Philemon from prison in Ephesus, just, in other words, immediately before writing 2 Corinthians, when he's on his way around the north of the Aegean back down to Corinth, I think one of the things that gets him through are those poems in Philippians 2 and Colossians 1, because I think that poetry precedes theology. I think that what we have there is somebody struggling with, as we would say, his own demons. He probably wouldn't have put it like that, but facing the darkness and wrestling with the huge biblical truths focused on Jesus, about how in Jesus God has gone down to the darkness. And these come out as poetry first and as theology second. That's my own view. And I think that for Paul, those prayerful, praiseful poems are what then, part of what then enabled him to come through and out the other side.